The Star Wars prequel trilogy revealed that the Republic had no standing army of its own before the Clone Wars, and there's a clever reason as to why. The prequel trilogy introduced the Galactic Republic as a force of good in the galaxy, but why didn't they maintain a regular army prior to the Clone Wars? For decades, the Republic had been stuffed with legends in the Star Wars franchise. They represented the golden days of peace and prosperity when the Jedi Order had been at its height. Finally, in 1999, George Lucas revealed the truth and it left viewers somewhat taken aback. The Republic was presented as a vast and frankly impotent bureaucracy whose member planets had grown increasingly disillusioned. What was more, the Republic even lacked the capacity to protect worlds at times of crisis. It lacked an operational army, meaning it couldn't send troops to break the Trade Federation's blockade of Naboo in Star Wars Episode I The Phantom Menace. When the Republic did get an army in Star Wars Episode II Attack of the Clones, its sudden appearance was actually a scheme courtesy of the Sith. So why didn't the Republic have an army in the first place? Well, it's important to understand that the Galactic Republic was in constitutional terms. It was essentially a political and economic union, but not a military one. Rather than compare it to the United States in the real world, a better comparison is the European Union. Member planets retain competency over their own foreign policy and defense, meaning each world had a responsibility to maintain its own army. However, this wasn't always the case. The Republic once maintained a military in the Old Republic days, in the years when it was at war with the Sith Empire, but this had been deemed unnecessary after a millennia of peace. We can see in Knights of the Old Republic and Star Wars Old Republic that the Republic had huge armies, but they had presumably become so successful that many planets abandoned their armies, or else maintained only a small force to deal with low-level threats such as pirate attacks. So at most, planets only had a small army or a militia at the ready. That explains why Palpatine's plan to create a grand army of the Republic was so controversial in Star Wars Episode II Attack of the Clones. He was proposing an expansion of the Republic's powers into an area where each world had previously maintained its own competency, and that it would have resulted in massive constitutional changes across the galaxy. Imagine it from the perspective of a world who built up a strong fleet of its own defense. They would fear they would be stripped of their defense in order to benefit another planet on the other side of the galaxy suffering pirate attacks at a time. It's really not difficult to see why this proved so explosive in the political terms in the Senate. But while this would initially have meant only a small amount of war material would have been stripped from the Republic member worlds, it would have been undoubtedly required further economic integration. Armies need to eat and be supplied. As the Clone Wars continued, the members of the Republic would nevertheless have found their own areas of competency reducing, encroached by the Republics. The Clone Wars forced a greater level of integration than had ever been seen before, preparing the way of the rise of the Empire.